Bah. There we go again. What's the point of playing it a second time, man? What's the point of it?
Man, Z, it's just for the laughs, just for the laughs.
Yep.
Like I said, I have a mute button right here.
Yeah. They probably do it for the better. Just take me right out of it and introduce the podcast yourself.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised you're not holding up a picture.
Yeah. Well, I thought I'd change it up this time. I mean, you know, yeah, I know. I'm trying to figure out something else to do. I don't really know what to do, but
yeah, it's about time. Well, Z, this is episode 61. Our last episode, our Shohei Ohtani episode that really took off and was the biggest video that Z and I put out by a mile. So we appreciate all of you guys who tuned into that, who listened to our opinion, even if you didn't watch the whole episode. We still appreciate your support, still appreciate you tuning in to that video, to that content. We're going to try to keep it similar, honestly, in terms of the time frame of our videos, but that was episode 60. This is episode 61 of Who Are These Guys? As you see, Mythical Jazzy right there. And you can find me at In Hindsight. You can find him on Twitch at Mythical Jazzy. But as you see by the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about some big news, folks, that came out of the Sunday night game, or not Sunday night
fantasy season.
Yep, not the Sunday night game. The 4 o'clock game between the Chiefs and Chargers. News came out shortly before the Sunday night game that Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice, they are feared that he tore his ACL, and Z has him on his fantasy team in our league. So obviously that's a big brutal blow. I actually have him Z in Jericho's. So yeah. So that kind of hurts not having him, but he was off to a terrific start of his season. So it's definitely brutal for the Chiefs. They obviously don't have Isaiah Pacheco either for the next 7 weeks. Kareem Hunt was a little bit involved in their offense, but overall they're missing 2 huge key components of their offense. And I still have faith and believe in the Chiefs that they're able to overcome that, just given their organization and what we've seen the last 2 years without Tyreek Hill. But Z, any certain way you want to kick us off, or you want to get right into this Rashee Rice stuff?
Well, I think, and we can't just ignore the fact on right now, if you guys haven't seen, I mean, maybe it'll change, but and so we would gain 500 views, but we're up to 900. Yep. So it's an absolute win. It's going to be very hard to overtake that. But it definitely gives Ed and I the motivation to keep going on our podcast. So, and keep saying that the podcast is dead when it's really not. So,
I only say that just because Z continuously bets.
Relax. So, I think everybody liked it. Yeah. By the way, that was my idea too. And if you guys go to the end of the video, you'll see Ed leaning back on his chair going like this. Guy didn't want to talk about it.
Just wrapping it up. We didn't want to linger too long.
Yeah. So, anyways, thank you guys for that. I mean, honestly,
it was heavily edited at the end.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Otherwise, we might have had 900 people reporting us.
Yeah, we might have. So, but it was heavily edited. But
and that would have been bad. That would have been bad.
Yeah. Well, everything's good. We made it crisp and clean and clear as we needed to in that video, and we appreciate all of you guys who viewed that and supported our channel. If you guys haven't hit the subscribe, please do that. We're 10 away from 100 subscribers.
So that's
great. It's been difficult because Z and I haven't been able to be the most consistent pushing out content, but we're going to do our best here going forward. Usually early on the weeks, you guys can expect NFL talk, especially as we're in the kickstart of the NFL season. That's kind of going to be the beginning of the weeks. You guys are going to see some Black Ops 6 gameplay as the year goes on. You're still going to see some videos here and there of College Football 25. And you'll probably also hear some NBA talk as well as the year goes on. But yeah, the Rashee Rice news, Z, is definitely brutal for the Chiefs. I wasn't really expecting the injury to be that severe for them. Do you think they go out and get a replacement, or do you think that they're just going to rock with Xavier Worthy and whoever else?
Well, here's the play, by the way. If no one, I mean, I'm sure everybody has seen it. Now, obviously, like outside of a fantasy football perspective, I know players don't care about fantasy football. They don't care about parlays. Hopes Rashee Rice is okay. I know Ed and I joke that he should be in jail. That's a whole different conversation.
We might not see him next year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I got a whole different conversation that we're not going to get into.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving past that, here's the play right here. I mean, so the play was on a Patrick Mahomes interception.
Just
and
real great, Patrick. Just real great.
Whoever was returning the ball there, you can see he fumbled it too. Rashee Rice knocked the ball out, and then Patrick went low, which is super dirty. Which is super dirty. And one for the guy who's returning the ball and for Rashee Rice. Now, I'm not calling Patrick Mahomes a dirty player, but yeah, I mean, just watching this, dude, I mean, that sucks. It just sucks. Yeah, like you got to wonder how like Mahomes feels doing that because, I mean, honestly, he's the reason why he's going to have a torn ACL.
Yeah, no, it's brutal. It's brutal if you're Mahomes and you look back on that, obviously,
and he's your best
trying
receiver.
to make a play.
He's your best receiver.
Yeah, it's one of those things though. You look at it and it's a freak accident. That's what it is. It was bad place, wrong timing.
Yep.
It just Rice got the end of the stick of it. So it sucks. This is a big opportunity for Xavier Worthy, the rookie. They also have, like I said, they brought in Kareem Hunt, who's probably going to get more time as in the pass game as well. Obviously, Travis Kelce probably had his most productive game this past week. But it sucks having Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice now injured for the Chiefs. So the question begs, do they go out and make a move? Do they go out and make a move? They still have Juju Smith-Schuster, who's probably pretty much worthless.
Yawn.
You have Noah Gray there as a backup tight end who sometimes sees some volume.
This is a pretty good descriptive on how I feel right now about my fantasy team.
Yeah.
So say goodbye to my fantasy season. It's going to go down the drain. He was the best. I think he was the best ranked fantasy wide receiver the first 4 weeks.
What are your other options, Z?
Well, of course, I have Amon-Ra St. Brown, but now it looks like it's Christian Kirk's got to step up. So,
man.
Well,
why don't you consider a trade?
Yeah, I mean, I believe me, I've been looking.
Yeah, he's been testing the market. So,
yeah, yeah. I mean, in reference to what would be available, I mean, dude, like obviously you talk about guys who are already on the trade market. DeAndre Hopkins. There's been some talks about Amari Cooper, Robert Woods, some guys like that. I don't know. I feel like the Chiefs are definitely they might wait a week or two to see what they got with like Xavier Worthy. With obviously he's got a super increased role. Sky Moore, I feel like is probably the number 2 receiver now. Who's number 3? Like Justin Watson. That's not good.
No,
I mean it's not good.
It's not.
It's not. So it's like. I know you have Patrick Mahomes, best player in the NFL, best coach in the NFL, cool, but like, and it hits a point. Eventually it'll hit a point where you're gonna run out of guys.
Yeah,
and like when you keep losing guys, like they've lost Pacheco, like they've lost Hollywood Brown, now Rashee Rice, it's just gonna catch up to them. It's just gonna be the reality.
Yeah,
you can say what they want. You can say what they want about the refs. You can say what you want about Patrick Mahomes, whatever else. Finding a way for them to win. They will continue to win games. I'll probably still pick them to win the division. I don't know, dude. If I'm any team in the NFL, I'm not going to give them DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not going to give them Amari Cooper. Like, forget about that.
But yeah, you're not gonna. If you're one of these teams as well, they're trying to compete with the Chiefs. You're not freaking giving them anything.
Yeah.
So it's just. Yeah, and it's hard to see like an AFC team give the Chiefs a wide receiver. Now, on the flip side of things, we've seen the last 2 years the Chiefs have kind of run through the narrative of not really having a playmaker because obviously Tyreek Hill left. Well, they've ended up winning back-to-back Super Bowls. And I still have confidence in the Chiefs that they're able to overcome this, but I think they'll have to make a move, but I don't think they're going to need to go get like this star guy. I think because even last year you looked at like Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I know there was like one other guy that they had that I can't think of the top of my head.
I just want to read this real quick because this is from Adam Schefter. It says, quote, "Here's what we know right now. We do know that Rashee Rice is going missing extended period of time. We do not know yet if it's a torn ACL. He's continuing to go through testing. There's not been yet confirmation that is a torn. Chiefs feared post-game locker room after they beat the Chargers again. It's going to be a bad knee injury, but they're hoping that's not as bad as they feared. He's still going through testing." That was the latest update by everyone's favorite Adam Schefter.
Yeah. Well, there was talk about 4 years ago about him deserving to lose his job at ESPN. So
Why?
I forget what it was. It was something that like he wrote about or something like that. It was something like that was what was it?
Oh, and you know what's sad with N is, well, I'm not gonna say N because I feel like I've fallen for it too. There's like that one, like there's probably a couple of them, but there's like that one like Adam Schefter fake account.
No, nothing beats the Rappaport one.
Oh yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Nothing beats the Rappaport one out there, dude.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. But yeah, the Ian Rappaport fake account, it gets me every time.
Yeah.
It gets me every single time. What are you trying to look up? What happened to Adam Schefter?
No, it was some. I know it was like 4 or 5 years ago. People were calling for his job for certain comments made, or it was something in an article, and he ended up deleting it. I don't freaking remember what it was.
Yeah. So, anyways, get back on topic. What do the Chiefs do now that we're going to be sitting here and they're going to be very shorthanded with targets?
Yeah.
And they have to trade for a wide receiver. They have to.
Yeah. Well, you got Travis Kelce there that is probably going to see more volume. You got Xavier Worthy who's going to see some more volume. I would imagine probably next week Juju Smith-Schuster is going to get elevated into a more higher role. Kareem Hunt, I expect to be more vital in the pass game. So there's some different options there. And obviously, when you have a quarterback with Mahomes, you're able to overcome lack of talent. It's hard when you have a quarterback that isn't of that caliber, of that tier, and there's just really not a whole lot you can work with that point. But I would imagine something has to be in the works. Some type of move have to happen. I definitely could see them look at Tennessee. I could see them look at a Texans just because they're so crowded. They're not going to get Nico. They're not going to get Tank, but like maybe Rhodes, maybe John Mechie or somebody like that. Maybe they'll look at a couple of those guys or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like, especially if I'm an AFC team. I mean, the Browns are not going to give Amari Cooper the Chiefs. Are you kidding me? I mean, that would just be a
really
massive
NFC side. Like, who would kind of make sense on the NFC end?
I mean,
if they would target, like, I don't really see them anytime soon. Anybody in the NFC North. I don't really see anybody in the NFC East. I don't really see anybody in the NFC West that's gonna move guys.
Yeah.
NFC South, Falcons aren't. Bucks aren't. They're playing too well. Carolina, like, they're not going to trade Deontay Johnson. They just traded for him.
It's painless nonetheless, losing him. He's really quickly turning into one of the best wide receivers in the league. And
yeah, for sure. Yeah. He's last year he had a good kind of breakout season, and this year he was on pace to probably finish one of the top guys in yards and probably receptions too.
Yeah. And it's all because of an accident. That's all it was. It was an accident.
No worries, that paycheck's still coming around.
Yeah, it is, and yeah, it is. Speaking of paychecks, let's quickly bring up. I wish I can show the conversations and I had over text yesterday. Mm-hmm. But let's just say this guy lost his mind probably about 10 times, maybe even more. I don't know.
I turned off the game probably about 8 different times.
As you see in the photo,
I just turned red zone on.
A legend, an elite quarterback. He always will be. Colts beat the Steelers yesterday.
See, I would say Joe Flacco is better in his career at this point than he ever was with Baltimore.
That's a crazy statement.
Yeah, I'm saying it. The last 3 years in his backup role, look at what he did with the Ravens. He won 1 Super Bowl. Other than that, Baltimore has had great defenses with Flacco. They've been able to run
Gary Kubiak here
really well. Flacco, when you look at what he did, the Flacco offense, he has thrown it down the field for a PI. That's the Flacco offense. There's no denying
play action.
Yeah, play action down the field, pass interference. That's the Flacco way. But Flacco was never somebody that was really viewed as a top quarterback with Baltimore. He was somebody that had a good deep ball. He was somebody that he had some turnovers. You can look back at his stats. He has some high interception seasons, but good deep ball. He's going to keep a guy that's going to keep you in games with good defenses and being able to run the football. That was the Ravens' way with Joe Flacco there. Later in his career, Flacco is somebody to me that's a little bit different. He's actually, to me, he seems more valuable in terms of his backup roles that we've seen the last 3 years. You look at the Jets, you look at the Browns, you look at now with the Colts. He seems more valuable to me in these backup roles than he ever was with Baltimore. Because I'm not saying that Baltimore, like, outside their Super Bowl, I mean, they had some seasons where they won double digits, where they won a playoff game, or they the late 2000s where they had an AFC Championship appearance. But to me, Flacco wasn't really somebody that was really the needle mover for those type of years. So I tend to lean toward Flacco later in his career being more valuable in his career and being more valuable to the NFL in terms of these backup roles that he's coming in and winning these games for these teams than outside of 2012 with the Ravens. Like, he was just kind of there. Like, he was to me, he was never really even a top 10 quarterback with Baltimore. Z.
Well, the only thing I'm going to say, yeah, let's not get in that video of how many guys are better than Flacco. God, we could do a live reaction.
You're telling me they want to make that trade?
Yeah. Was it Joe Flacco for Ryan Tannehill? Is that what it was?
No, it was Flacco for Stafford.
Stafford. Anyways, and I think the only thing that you're not really recognizing here that, yeah, maybe you can say would have worked out better for Flacco early in his career is the last couple years, dude, he doesn't care. He's just flinging it,
Yeah, but you know what? It's working, though.
That's what I'm saying.
It's working.
I'm saying.
This guy's playing free. He's flinging it. He's bringing so much more value to these teams than what he brought as a starter toward the end of his career with the Ravens, toward his starter with the Broncos.
That's what I'm trying to say. Why don't you
so
shave your
why
head
are you
again?
disagreeing with me?
I'm not disagreeing. Why don't you shave your head again?
Yeah, shave my head again. Z, we've been waiting for yours for the last 4 years.
That's why my hat's on.
Jeez, where's that bald spot?
Yeah, it's actually been improving.
Yeah, it's been improving, I'm sure.
Anyways, that's what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying the difference is the last 2 years compared to when he was under a max deal with the Ravens is he was playing more conservative because he probably don't want to turn over the ball that much, but he played so conservative that the Ravens got boring and they ended up drafting Lamar Jackson. but now the last 2 years he gets put in with the Browns week 12 or 13, and he gets put in with the Colts because Anthony Richardson got hurt. Guy doesn't know how to defend himself.
No, he doesn't.
That's why we're seeing success is because he's just flinging it everywhere. I don't disagree. Maybe things would have been different later in his career. Regardless, this conversation is not about Flacco. Flacco's elite.
You brought him up.
Yeah, I did. Well, he's in the photo. And had a miserable day yesterday. He was calling out every single player on the Steelers. I feel like.
Yeah.
We won't talk too much about it, but tough loss. I told Ed not to overreact about it. They're not going to win every single game. Colts played a good game. Their defense played well.
Yep.
And Flacco came in, and just like the good old days, he went against the Steelers as he did so many times.
Yep. Yeah. All I'll say about it is the defense was just an atrocity all around. I don't think one player on the defense deserved a paycheck. Credit to Justin Fields for being one of the only couple that actually showed heart in that game, and he ended up having the best quarterback performance the Steelers have had since 2021. So I'll give him a lot of credit on that. There's some good things to take away. Not going to win them all. But defense, like you just can't. Main thing I said to Z was to not ramble on here, and this is what I'm going to leave it at. Main thing I said, it's not about losing games. It's not about having some rough quarters. When you're a team and things go wrong early on and you just give up and you don't show heart, and anybody watching can see it by your not just how you're playing, but literally by your attitude, by your body language, that's when I get pissed. That's when it makes me mad. Is that when things start to go wrong early in a game, it's not about making adjustments or anything like that. That's stuff that you need to do. But then once you just give up and you just keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, and nothing's changing, and then it's like, oh, well, that doesn't work. So, this is an L. That's when I get pissed off.
Well, enjoy Patrick Queen. I told you he's a Roquan merchant.
Yeah.
I saw all Steeler fans calling him out on Twitter yesterday.
Well, it was deserved. It
was.
On him, it was everybody. Watt was invisible. Everybody was invisible. So their defense is going to be a top unit throughout the year. I'm not concerned about it, but they're going to have a few games where they're not going to be good, and the offense is going to have to bail them out. But it just sucks because the offense was lights out and dynamite in the second half, and the defense couldn't do a lick of anything.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. So they got a big game on Sunday night.
This is what it is. We threw the Steelers in there, and it'll be down here in Florida next week. We'll be watching Sunday night. Wish we can do a podcast in person. But the moral of the video was about the Rashee Rice news, and not officially a torn ACL yet, but seemed like it might be trending that way. It's safe to say if you have this guy in fantasy, you are a very lucky individual. And I'm just going to say that he's probably going to go off for the rest of the season. So
yeah, probably.
Obviously we know this kid's special. He is a rookie. We have to calm it down with him. We don't know how good he's really going to be, but he's instantly going to come the number one receiver until they trade for somebody. And I'm excited to see what this guy has in store.
Yeah, for sure. He's electric. He's super fast. Maybe he might be that Tyreek Hill-esque player that they haven't had. So it should be interesting. Should be interesting nonetheless. I expect the wide receiver market to probably move a little bit in the next few weeks or so with some of these teams.
Yeah. So you guys saw us talk about the Chiefs pretty much. We threw a little bit of Steelers in there just because we had to. Next one, I'm wearing my Justin Tucker jersey. He's having a miserable season. He might be washed. Next video, we might be talking about the Ravens. But that was episode 62, man. Or 61.
61.
61.
So
61.
We'll see. Yeah. So next episode, guys, you guys will see a little bit more NFL content as we are kind of kickstarting a new week in terms of NFL heading into week 5. But yeah, so other than that, thank you guys for your support. Thanks for hanging out with us for about these 20 minutes or so, talking about some new news. And feel free to check out our recent videos, the Shohei Ohtani one. This one, episode 62, will be coming your way, where we'll be talking about a couple extra things of the NFL.
We'll be wearing the same outfits
heading into this week. So we will, because we decided not to change. So we'll see you guys there.